Sit down somewhere, child bride. Seriously, folks, episode, I think it's 120. Look, like I said a couple reviews ago, if I start off a video and I say the wrong episode number, don't trip because I know on the title I'm going to get it right. But yeah, I think this is episode 120, Tuesday's episode. And yes, you are getting the review very shortly after the episode aired. But man, yet again, look, two episodes in a row. This has me really hopeful that the whole week is just banger after banger after banger. Another 15 out of 10 because Bill put Hayley in her place. This is not the time for your BS. So let's jump into it, folks. Now we start off over at Martin and Smitty's place. Yeah, I could say Martin and Smitty's now because Martin is temporarily still there, sleeping on the couch, but whatever. Now, at this point, hashtag where's Chelsea is trending because if you remember during the purse release party, Martin was asked by his mom to announce to the crowd that Chelsea is officially a missing person, so the event is canceled. Now, from there, Samantha's like, wait, what's happened? Because remember, Martin didn't tell his daughter about what occurred, when he got the update from his mom at the club. So that's when Nicole gives Martin a call to let him know what's been going on. And he says, yeah, I can contact some friends who work in tech to help with the search. Now, when he gets off the phone, he tells, his kids about the situation. And that's when Samantha's like, well, hey, Dad, you're an investigative journalist. So he leaves with Martin and they try to help the family. So yet again, I love how everyone is putting their skills to good use here. It really makes you proud to be a fan that's been following along and paying attention to the different character quirks and personality traits and most importantly, skill set of everyone. And I love this because, yeah, it's a high tension situation. Emotions are all over the place, but I love how everybody is, for the most part, remaining calm. And when someone does get a bit emotional, someone pulls them to the side to, alleviate that because it makes sense. It makes sense because everybody reacts to certain things like this in different ways. You got those who are just an emotional wreck, those who put their feelings aside and let me lock in. All right. Hey, I'm going to need you to do this. I need you to do this. I got this because cradling and crying in a corner isn't going to help bring your girl back. And I just love how everybody's being utilized in this situation. So back over to the cabin in the middle of the woods, Allison lashes out because of the fact that Chelsea isn't appreciating what she did for her. The lavender candles. I mean, the different things. I mean, look, I remember your self-care Sunday post. I put all this together, but you abducted me. But this was for you. And Chelsea, yet again, just makes the wrong choices. Do not call a crazy person crazy or psycho. This isn't love, it's psychotic, and I feel like I'm trapped in a low-budget horror movie. That was perfect. And she keeps going on about it until Allison starts waving around, what do you call it? Like a paring knife or something? And she eventually puts it away. And from there, she sweeps up the place and tells her, okay, well, we just need to get closer. So she pulls out some sort of bracelet, and Chelsea apparently has seen Snow White, doesn't want to eat no apple from her. And Allison's like, well, if that's the case, all we can do now is make love. So she starts feeling up on her, and she puts on a blue nightgown, which I think it's blue. I'm sorry. Look, it's nighttime in the damn cabin, okay? Maybe I'm wrong, but blue is my favorite color. And she got an exact replica of the gown for Chelsea. And she's like, this is sick. I think eventually you'll see that this is meant to be. So when Allison gets on top of her and starts kissing her, Chelsea opts to bite her lip. Chelsea, listen. I didn't say this in my previous episode review, but I saw people on Twitter saying this, and it makes a lot of sense. Chelsea has a larger build than Allison. And Allison, last episode, didn't have a weapon or anything on her, meaning that it stands to reason that if Allison, if you let her get close enough, Chelsea could have, like, choked her out or something, or took her wrist that was with the cuff, just kind of strangled her or something, and that could have been it. But no. So Chelsea, you are in a low budget horror film, but you're making the same idiot choices of prisoners in horror films. Like, you could have done what, if I'm not mistaken, Anita told you to do, which was play along, because you're just making all these mistakes, and the more you refuse and whatnot, the more violent Allison's going to get towards you. So after biting her lip, that's when she's like, oh, you like to play rough? Then she starts grabbing Chelsea by the hair, and I'm just like, again, Chelsea, you could have just played along, slowly ate that dinner, just talk to her, make Allison feel, wanted and everything. But I don't know, this is some wild stuff. Now, over at Hayley and Bill's place, Caroline's there, and they're talking about Beyonce, and, they're getting drunk. So Hayley says that, it's a good, I never would have been able to have this kind of fun if I was still pregnant, and at least I have one friend. So she's just happy that she's away from the Duprees at this moment. So Caroline is like, well, are you still uncomfortable when Bill is with Danny? And that's when we switch gears over to Vernon and Anita's, where Danny and Bill are actually talking about Chelsea. And that's when he reassures her, like, look, you've been an amazing mother. Like, don't question yourself on that. I just wish I was more present as her father. And we just have to have faith that somehow, some way, we're going to get our little girl back. So while this is going on, Andre had popped up, and he's watching from a distance and starts to get in his feelings about it. And I'm just like, yeah, just like Danny was when she saw you and Ashley together not too long ago. So from there, we go over to Hayley calling Bill to get information on Chelsea, and she mentions that that's terrible. Well, actually, no. Hayley calls Bill, and that's when Bill updates her on the kidnapping, and he's like, look, don't come over here and complicate things, okay? So Bill just said, like, hey, there's a lot going on. I know you want to be here and support and whatnot, but this just isn't the time, isn't the place, all right? Like, we're handling the situation. That's when Bill tells Danny that, she can, our daughter can handle herself in terms of some sort of like crazed fan, if that's the case. Now, from there, we go over to Danny explained that Allison is the woman who broke Chelsea's heart. And I'm like, oh, so yet again, we're kind of getting the Bill is finding out what's really been going on with his daughter's sexuality here. Okay, interesting. Now, Nicole finds Naomi, and she's just keeping herself distracted with the case. And it makes sense, because she talks about how she always finds a way to win in court, but what good is that going to do now? And I like how they're exploring how everybody deals with situations like this in different ways. Like, there's no, one specific way of handling it. And she just feels useless because everybody else is putting their skills to work, but she's got nothing. And hey, that's okay. That's okay. So Kat is looking on Chelsea's tablet for any sort of clues on this situation. And Madison points out that Allison was, quote unquote, married. Jacob is confused about this whole, what's it called, a trouble situation. So Kat digs up Craig's contacts and messages him. And they look on social media, but there are no photos of him and Allison, but he's with a bunch of other women, which is confusing because isn't he supposed to be married to Allison? So Bill talks with them for a second, but they leave as soon as they find some sort of lead, which is great because, yet again, everybody's putting their own respective skills to the test. So Bill realizes that he doesn't know what Chelsea has been up to. And that's when Andre puts his skills to use and puts together a video plea from Chelsea's parents. And Bill says that they can feel everybody's support. So Hayley freaks out because she's watching this video and sees Bill surrounded by the Duprees and decides to storm out and go confront him. And I'm just like, ain't this something? So she feels this is the perfect time to go over to the home and state her claim, so to speak. But thankfully, she immediately gets jumped on. Naomi's pissed off. Nicole jumps in on her, lecturing her, and Hayley's like, I'm just here for support. No, they ain't. No, you aren't. So Bill notices what's going on, breaking it up, and like takes to the side and look, I told you not to come. And she feels, I'm not happy being pushed out by the family. Well, you said you were happy to be away from the Duprees. Dang. And like it or not, your husband is always going to be connected to them via his children with his ex-wife. Like, this is not the time for your bull crap. So, while he's like, look, this is not the time for any sort of jealousy and whatnot. Well, I'm not happy to see you acting like Danny is your wife in that video. Which, when you really think about it, it is crazy. Because think about the millions of people online. The last time they saw Bill and Danny together was at Bill and Hayley's wedding when Danny had a gun on them. Now, several months later, because Chelsea's missing, they're in a video together. So you know the comment section got to be wild. Like, man, I know they still love each other. It's like, hey, where's the child bride? No, that would have been a crazy part if Hayley's like, I saw the comments, Bill. People think you two are married, Bill. That would have been crazy work. All right. So he's like, look, it's not about that. It's about our daughter. So Hayley insists on making it about them and accuses Bill of pushing her away whenever things get too real. And it's like, this is not the time for that. So I want to be by your side and support you. Like, get out. Get. Like this. No, go. So over at Uptown, two things are going on. So first of all, Vanessa's meeting with Joey. Well, actually, Joey meets with her because she's worried about Chelsea. And he asked why'd you call me here? So he starts flirting with her. And she's like, yeah, we need to put away whatever this is between us. And it's like, well, your lips are saying one thing, but your eyes are saying another, baby. So that's when she admits that, look, I do have real feelings for you, but that's also dangerous. And, well, the danger is why you won't stay away. I know what you're looking for. And you want danger without the burn. But the thing is, the world doesn't work that way. I mean, let's not forget your escort escapades. So you can leave if you want, but I know you'll be back. But the thing is, by the time you do turn around, once you come to your senses, I might not be interested. You never know. And the thing is, though, you've seen the inside of my operation, and I'm not really one to leave loose ends. So that's when he walks out. And that's when the Duprees walk in to talk with Buck Buchanan, the assistant director of the FBI. And they bring up the Chelsea situation and how she's been abducted by a stalker. And, of course, he's going to need some more information before he can open an investigation. But they'll see if we can escalate the situation so long as we have some solid evidence. Now, over at Orphe Jeans, and like I said, this was a very well-paced episode. We have detective duo Jacob Cat. Man, look, I'm going to gas these two up. I'm not shipping them. I'm talking about their detective business that they need to put into operation now. All right, so Cat, well, immediately grills him about her connections, in order to intimidate him. And it's like, hey, Cat, put the claws away. Let's get to the bottom of this. So, we learn a lot about Craig. First of all, he's still alive. Secondly, yeah, so I heard about everything that's been happening online. And Cat's like, yeah, your wife always looked a bit suspect. So, here's the thing. Allison was never my wife, and I was never her boyfriend. And Jacob gets confirmation on like, wait, y'all never married. And Craig finds this whole thing weird and wants to leave. But, of course, Jacob's like, no, we need some more answers. So it turns out he's one of Joey's escorts from his escort service. So who knows? This dude has probably hooked up with Vanessa at some point. You never know. But Allison paid him to pretend that they were a couple in order to pull Chelsea into threesomes. And he knew that, well, yeah, she's been obsessed with Chelsea socials for a while. And look, I'm not a pimp. I'm just an escort. That's it. And I don't want this situation to mess up my life. And then that's when Kat calls him a man whore. Kat, this is not the time. So that's when Craig explains that, look, I need to stay discreet and talking to you could put me in danger. AKA, look, Joey don't play around. So they promise to keep this conversation as well as the information private, and he shows them Allison's booking information. And after he leaves, Jacob says he'll make some calls to push a warrant through. And as soon as he turns his back, that's when Kat runs off. I'm like, Lord, Kat, come on. I'm excited to see, you put your skills to the test, but hey, this ain't like the Leslie situation. All right? You got to play this one by the books, but we'll just have to wait and see. Honestly, I feel like if anybody bursts into that cabin and starts whooping some behind, it's going to be Chelsea. I mean, Kat. Yeah, I feel like it's going to be Kat. All right, well, with that being said, solid episode. I'm glad Bill went off on Hayley because sit your brat behind down. We ain't got time. Ain't nobody got time for this.